Here is our week 6 recap, or my week 6 recap, should I say. Just take you through a couple of trades, and we will review where the account's at. And mistakes were made again, but we will go through them. And I think that week by week, we will start to get there. That's the aim. So you can see here that there wasn't much movement from week 5 to week 6. We've got a £5 account difference. That's closed trade profit. I'm going to call that a break even. We have got one trade currently, which we will discuss first, that is currently open. And then we've got a couple of trades that were closed and a few planned trades for the next week. So I'll give you the context of why trades were entered. I'll give you the outcomes and my interpretation, with some decision making kind of comments. So the open trade, which is a EuroCAD long, is currently bounced where I kind of roughly thought it would bounce at. Gone for a 2R risk structure. It seems to be pushing further past the resistance at this point, which is a positive for sure. I'm quite happy with that, and I'm going to leave this one, shockingly. I'm going to not do my usual where I decide to meddle with things and take things early. I'm going to see how this plays out. I've got a break even planned. If the price action was to come and drop down towards this point, I'll take a break even. But at the minute, there's really no need for me to be touching this. I like the price action. It's making higher lows. It's making higher highs. Like I said, it's kind of up here at the minute. So yeah, currently, if this pulls off, that'll be 2R profit to add to our account. Next one is GBP AUD long. Now, I closed this for a break even, but as you can see, the moment it closed, this was similar to one of the previous weeks we had, where I really just like closing things early, apparently. I don't know why. Is we're in a downtrend. So this came up to kind of touch that downtrend, and I was very aware that realistically this could just push further down to the downside. Now, I'd already planned another entry, but part of me was thinking, because this has already bounced significantly up into profit, I don't really like the thought of letting this run, potentially go down to the downside and then not come back and me lose profit. So again, this was about a 10% of my account. If both would have lost, I think it would have been about 10% of my account. So not a small amount of money. So I just decided, look, if it bounces and goes straight into profit, great. If it comes back to break even, I'll take a break even. Realistically, I think because I'd already pre-planned the trade the way I had, I should have realistically just let it go and see what happens. And obviously, you can see what the outcome was there. So traded myself out of a 2R profit, but we live and learn, and we'll move on from that. We didn't lose money, which is a big win. GBP CHF long. This was a more confident decision from me. I'm not as regretful about this, because going into this trade, my expectation was we'll either get a bounce here or we could potentially go up to here and get a bounce down. Now, we narrowly missed this entry, which would have been lovely because we would have got a 1R win with a break even. That would have been nice and textbook. Would have taken that all day under the sun. Because we'd missed that entry and because I saw it coming back towards our target entry, I was like, you know what? If we can get a tiny amount of profit, basically a break even, let's just get out of this, because again, I don't want this to start meandering upwards and us get closed for a 10% account loss. So whilst this did push down into profit, I think it was kind of as normalized at about a 1.2R. So I had a 1.5R total risk, which was probably about here. We haven't hit that yet. Price actions kind of stalling here. So yeah, we didn't maximize our gains, but again, we didn't lose. So this one I'm more happy with. We've got 3 or 4 current planned trades. This one here has actually just been entered. This has just been triggered. So this is a screenshot, but as I was setting this up, I just had a ping notification saying that there's been a big bar up to the upside. Price action is currently around here. So it's storming to the upside. I'm hoping that we're going to get a nice reversal down now because we've had a big spike up. I'm hoping that we won't get 2 massive spikes up. So we've got another re-entry point here for a sell. I've got about 15% of my account total risked on this trade, just because I like the price action and I think there's a few opportunities for a clear bounce. So we will see how that goes, but we are currently entered into Euro USD short, so I'll fill you in on how that goes next week. But my expectation is that we've got a 2R risk reward. I'm expecting that we can get bounce at some point to hopefully get out with a decent bit of profit. USD CAD long. I think that this one has not been entered yet, but I think if we can get a little reach down to the downside, there's no reason why we can't get this activated and triggered. Again, I think I've risked about 15% of this account just because I like the price action. So we will see how USD CAD goes, but for me, there's no reason why that can't get a nice bounce to the upside if we get an entry point, because we're already quite stretched to the downside here. So that is what I'm going for there. Next, we've got AUD CHF long. I think that given where price has been, if we can get a little bit of a drop to the downside, I think there's a good opportunity to get a bounce here. There's a fair bit of resistance and choppiness over these two zones, so I've actually accounted for that. I've entered some planned trades. I believe I'm risking 15% of the account again for these. So we will see how that goes, but it's time to start pushing on a little bit. I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident with my decision making. So we will start risking a little bit of a higher amount, with the context that £1,000 starting balance for me is not the be all and end all. However, I do want to get to the point where I am profitable in terms of my unit of risk versus reward over time. That's the most important thing. Euro GBP. Going into this trade, my expectation is that if we can get a smaller reduction to the downside, because we've just broken this resistance kind of downtrend, I think if we can push further down, hit this kind of support, I think that's a great opportunity to get a bounce to the upside. So this is a 2R risk reward. I think the price action is really nice here. Again, I think I've risked around 10% of the account for this, just because, you know, I'm sure there's always potential to make lower lows with a little bit of an upside. But yeah, I'm very much going for buys for Euro GBP here. I think that's it for now. So overall, I'm fairly happy with how the week has gone. I would say it's, you know, that second trade where I've kind of taken myself out of it before it's pinged up for a 2R win, which was the original planned trade. That literally has been hit today. That is mismanagement, but at the same time, it could have gone the other way, could have lost a lot more money. It was a break even. I'll never grumble at not losing money. And over time, just hopefully start seeing that account balance creep to the upside again, which would be great. In terms of reflections, though, I actually think that I'm starting to feel more confident in decisions I'm making. I'm starting to feel more confident with the amount I'm risking and why. So that's part of it. I think it's taken me up to this date of, you know, we're 6 weeks in now. It's really taken me up to this point to start getting really used to trading around work, not being there live managing stuff, not trying to meddle too much, but almost like taking opportunities when I've got a bit of time to look at the charts to understand where potential break-evens would be a good result, where to let things run. So we will see how that pans out. And yeah, wish me luck for week 7. So I still haven't done an overview of since we started, but I'm kind of thinking now, because I haven't done it, I was going to do it after week 4. It's now week 6. I kind of feel like get 2 months under the belt, and then use kind of the reflections of the week 1 to week 10 as a bit of a feedback and education video. I think that might be quite a nice learning tool. So I'll probably do that. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed that, and we will check in next week to see how the progress has been going.